Hello viewers, today for the initial checking out of, we have an AT&T corded telephone. This is the AT&T corded telephone model 146 as depicted there on the bottom of the unit. There's the rest of the informations. The FCC information about the interference. Manufactured in the China for advanced American telephones. I don't know exactly what year AT&T became advanced American telephones. I thought that was in more recent times, but this still has the neat blue or purple logo or the high stop, which I think is a little bit older, so I'm not sure. Perhaps the letter H can offer some clarification. He knows a lot more about these AT&T telephones than I do. So this is a pretty basic model. There's no caller ID, no speakerphone. We have a 3-position handset volume control on the left side of the base. On the right side we have tone and pulse selections. And we have ringer, off, low, and high. And then on top of the telephone we have the numbers 1 through 9 with the tone, the pound, and the 0 key. And these buttons are very nice. They have a good concave shape to them, so your finger doesn't slide off as you push it. It's got decent feedback. It's really nice buttons. And then it looks like this has speed dials. I'm not sure how many, probably just 10. Program or mute, depending on how the telephone's being used. Flash to use for call waiting, and redial. And there's your hook switch, which doesn't have much travel at all. Here's the handset, which definitely is going to have a lot of wind noise. This handset, I'll never forget this. This is so funny to me. This is back in the very early 2010s. I was at somebody's house for, I think it was a church function, and this was a massive, beautiful house with probably 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, 10-foot ceiling. I mean, huge property, acres and acres of land, and I needed to use the telephone. I don't even remember why. I don't even remember what the reasoning was. I needed to call to tell my mother something, I think, about probably pickup time or whatever. And at the time, we had just gotten the stupid iPhone. This is back in the era, before the iPhone was really stupid. This was, I think it was iPhone 3 or whatever at the time. And at the time, Verizon did not carry the iPhone. It was only, ironically, AT&T that carried the iPhone. So we had switched from the Verizon to AT&T, and the reception on the AT&T network compared to the Verizon network was atrocious. Now, again, this is back in the CDMA era, before the 4G takeover, and before all the carriers became pretty much the same thing. And so anyway, so this iPhone didn't work at this house. Big surprise there. And so I asked the homeowner if I could use the telephone. And in her defense, she still had a corded landline telephone. But, no fancy cordless, nothing. One stinking telephone in this entire house. I forget what the model number was, but it was an AT&T. I remember it had this handset, and there was something like, it was the side tone was so extremely loud, but the incoming audio was awful. There's something about this phone just wasn't quite right, and I remember that I called my mother from that telephone, and she didn't answer, but she called back, so I heard the telephone ring. And I remember it had caller ID. It was a model with a display on it. I really can't remember what the rest of the unit. I probably have one by now. But anyways, these handsets always remind me of that blip in time that I recall. So let's get this plugged in. And let's see here. This is wall mountable. If you were to wall mount it, looks like you can either route the cord directly over, which would pinch your cable something horrible, or you can route it up like that and around. It's not very recessed. It's still going to pinch the cable something awful, even being like that. That actually went in surprisingly easy. Sometimes those are very difficult to put together. What in the heck is all this? Oh no! We can't eat this. This is silica gel. That must be the silica gel from that ceiling fan I opened. Can you see it on the video? There's the silica gel. Oh, great. Well, I'm going to have to get the table cleaned up, because if I get hungry later, I don't want to get tempted to eat that. It's poisonous. Alright, let's begin by calling this telephone. Ugh, it doesn't even work. The ringer doesn't work. Well, that's unfortunate. It's sending a ring cycle now, but there's no audio. I don't know, is this switch just screwed up, or is it? Maybe the piezo is busted. Now there's nothing. That stinks. Yeah, the piezo must be spoiled. The piezo must be spoiled. That's unfortunate. Alright, so we can't take any incoming calls with this unless we have a second phone on the line. That, of course, is no problem over here. There's plenty of telephone ringers to go around, but that is definitely disappointing, because it probably had a decent sounding ringer too. Okay, that stinks. Well, let's go to the mains and see if we can call. Maybe we'll call the Farmer Jones code line. Seems to make a squeaky noise when it first comes on. Of course, now it's not going to do it. This might be talking about Christmas trees, because it's pretty much Christmas time almost.
Greetings from Jones Family Farms and Winery. We first want to thank everyone who visited our Pumpkin Seed Hill farm during pumpkin season.
That was too loud, wasn't it? I could see the audio level was off the charts.
Culinary creations from all the squash, but most of all, that you were able to create memories of autumn at our beautiful farm setting. The pumpkin season is over, and our agricultural team are now in our Christmas tree fields.
Yeah, that's volume low,
Our winery team
or
are beginning
normal.
the processing of this year's
That's the
grape
medium
harvest.
setting.
So speaking of the farm winery, it is currently open Thursday through Sunday from 12 till 6.
That is pretty
Our
loud.
JonesWineryCT.com website
high.
has details. You're welcomed to experience the lovely setting of the winery and tasting room at our Homestead Farm, 606 Walnut Tree Hill Road in Shelton, Connecticut. Looking ahead to Christmas trees, visit our Jones.
Yeah, that's blasting, but it's still pretty clear.
That'll plan your visit and
That's back to normal.
to prepare for the season. It's all there. As a reminder, it is our tradition.
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount of side tone on this telephone, which I like. Alright, so that works. It seems to dial out and everything just fine. Let's see if we can store a speed dial. I don't know how this works. I don't have the instruction manual for this telephone on hand. I should have printed it out prior to the video. I'll go see if I can go print it out now. Well, this certainly could have printed out better, but at least it exists. This is all just super convoluted. I don't know what the heck happened there, but this should tell us the information that we need. So this says, oh, you can select different ringer tones. I wonder if it's, no, it wouldn't just be turned off. I mean, it's worth trying to change it. Oh, wait a minute, here we go. It says telephone is blurry. Telephone does not ring or rings too softly. You may have inadvertently turned off the ringer when selecting a ringer tone. Press program, #6 program to turn the ringer back on. Okay, that's worth a shot. So it says program #6 program. Okay. We got a confirmation tone there, so let's see now. It's going to ring. Okay, so it is ringing now. The ringer is definitely spoiled though. That sounds abysmal. Let's put it to high. Oh gosh. That's horrible. Well, it sounds awful, but it does now work. And that was an interesting example of where the troubleshooting in the manual actually helped to solve the problem. A lot of times this troubleshooting in the manual is very basic and, you know, is stuff that we would go through just because it's common sense in this kind of work, but I would never have thought to do that, so that's pretty neat. Okay, so I guess let's listen to the different distorted ringer tones that it has. So we'll push program, press pound, 3 for tone 1, 6 for tone 2, or 9 for tone 3. But then it says 6 to turn the ringer back on, so there's some overlap. Well, I might have missed it. Okay, so that should be tone 1, distorted edition. These tones seem to all just be varying frequencies of the same pattern, probably. Jeez. That's horrible. Well, unfortunately, the Ringer piezo is 100% spoiled, or 99% spoiled. Okay, so let's look for this speed dial. Store memory numbers. It can store 10 numbers, 21 digits long. Press program, press memory, enter memory location, 1, and then enter the telephone number. You'll hear a click each time you press a button. I didn't hear no clicks, I heard beeps. Well, I guess Advanced American Telephone considers a beep to be a click. Or I would argue those are two completely different sounds. But that didn't program what I typed in. No, it did. The ringer on this phone is terrible. We can erase the memory by storing another number in its place. The memory gets lost if it's unplugged for 30 minutes, so it's stored in volatile memory. I guess volatile memory must have been a lot cheaper than non-volatile memory at the time. But, for the amount of memory that's required to store these, when we're talking a couple hundred bytes of data, you would think that it should have been able to be stored in non-volatile memory. Okay. Well, I think that's all there is to look at in the manual. Alright, I'll go ahead and record some testing messages with this now. I do have a bunch of new testing phrases, so I'll record a lot of funny phrases into the testing machine. The telephone rang, but nobody heard it because the ringer is spoiled.
Four new messages and 11 old messages. Message 1.
The telephone rang, but nobody heard it because the ringer is spoiled.
Message 2.
The sheep was sticky from the liquid spill. The cordless phone was returned dehumidifier leaked the refrigerant. The new LED street light had horrible glare. The LED Christmas lights at the neighbor's house flickered badly. The Chinese food was cold by the time we got home. The stinky cheese pizza was disgusting. The hardware store closed before it opened. The majority of I can't believe I got through as many of those as I did. The majority of customers returned the high-sense dehumidifier. The geese honked all night. The hardware store sold fresh donuts on Friday. The incandescent Christmas lights used a lot of electricity. The vintage air conditioner cooled well. That cordless phone has a lot of static. There was a lot of wind noise in the microphone. The digital recording sounded garbled. The buttons on the phone were sticky. The plastic was brittle from the sun. The Lasco box fan shook violently. The modern dehumidifier stopped working. The Frigidaire air conditioner has horrible temperature regulation. The old air conditioner with the Rotorex compressor kept working. The salt fog wreaked havoc on the condenser coil. Too much coil cleaner can ruin a machine. The vintage box fan moved a strong breeze through the window. The cheese became rancid when the refrigerator broke. The basement became moldy when the modern dehumidifier broke. The house became hot when the modern air conditioner broke. The man got a headache after the LED.
Message 3.
The man got a headache after the LED lamp was turned on. The incandescent light bulb threw off a lot of heat. The incandescent Christmas lights look nice. The cordless phone needs a new battery. The digital answering machine is full. Analog is better than digital. Speakers are neither analog nor digital. The 900 megahertz cordless phone had a long range. The payphone got wet during the hurricane.
Message 4.
The payphone got wet during the hurricane. The analog cordless phone received a call. The Panasonic phone has a blank display. We've had the same unit-end cordless phone for many years. Japan does good quality manufacturing. The new air conditioner doesn't get as cold as the old one. The modern refrigerator was unreliable. The LED street lights turned purple. That LED light bulb has horrible color rendering. We tried to replace the cordless phone battery, but all available options were the Castar. The anemometer exploded during the last hurricane.
End of messages.
There was definitely quite a lot of wind noise as I expected, but otherwise the audio both on the incoming and the outgoing side seems to be working properly, with the only problem being the spoiled piezo ringer. It's a little grimy. There's some dirt up in where the cradle sits, some grime on some of the buttons, but nothing that a quick wipe down with melamine foam can't solve. Although the melamine foam is not going to fix the ringer.